There are only 4 surviving female portraits painted by Leonardo da Vinci. One of them hangs in the Louvre, and no one knows who she is. For over 500 years, art historians have debated her identity. They have proposed at least 4 different women, each with her own story, her own secrets, and her own tragedy. But the most disturbing theory suggests that Leonardo may have painted 2 of them. 2 women who were rivals as they shared the same man. These were 2 women whose fates were intertwined in ways that would end in tragedy. So who was she? What do the portraits of 2 other women have to do with her? And why is the theory I believe in so shocking? This painting is titled La Belle Ferronnière, and in this video, I'll try to uncover the drama that might be concealed behind her mysterious stare. By the end of this video, you might look at this woman slightly differently. In the 1490s, Leonardo da Vinci was working as a court painter for one of the most powerful men in Italy, Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. Ludovico was ambitious, cunning, and obsessed with projecting an image of power. During this period, he commissioned Leonardo to paint The Last Supper, one of the most iconic paintings in history. Ludovico also employed Da Vinci as an engineer and designer. He held him in extremely high regard, and that's quite understandable. On the side, he also asked him to paint portraits of the women in his life, and this is where things started to go downhill for the proud Duke. The first was Cecilia Gallerani, a 16-year-old girl who had become Ludovico's lover. She was remarkably intelligent, fluent in Latin, and known for hosting intellectual meetings where poets and philosophers gathered. Leonardo must have adored her. He painted her holding an ermine, a small white predator with claws and watchful eyes. The painting is now known as Lady with an Ermine and is considered one of the greatest portraits ever made. But Cecilia's position at court was precarious, and this had everything to do with the Duke and his promiscuous behavior. But I'll get to that in a minute. In 1491, Ludovico finally married his fiancée, a young noblewoman from the city of Ferrara named Beatrice d'Este. Beatrice was also only 16, but she was no fool. She quickly discovered her husband's affair. Beatrice demanded that Cecilia, who was not of noble descent, be removed from the castle. Ludovico complied. He married Cecilia off to a count, gave her property, and officially ended the relationship. But he kept the painting though. What happened next is where the painting's mystery starts to unfold. Sometime around 1495, Ludovico took a new mistress. Her name was Lucrezia Crivelli. She was one of Beatrice's own ladies-in-waiting, a personal servant and female companion, as you will. This was not simply an affair. This was a humiliation of the highest degree. Lucrezia lived in the same castle as Beatrice. She served her daily, and now she was sleeping with her husband. Some art historians believe that Leonardo was commissioned by the Duke to paint Lucrezia, just as he had painted Cecilia. And they believe that this painting is the one we now call La Belle Ferronnière. If this is true, then we are looking at a portrait of the woman who destroyed Beatrice d'Este's marriage while she was serving her every day. But there is another theory, and that one I find even more disturbing. Some art historians have suggested that La Belle Ferronnière might actually be Beatrice herself, the wife, the one who was betrayed. As you'll see, the evidence is circumstantial. There are no writings or factual proof that confirms it. But in my opinion, the elements in this theory are compelling enough to be convincing. First of all, this is a drawing by the hand of Leonardo that is believed to be a portrait of Beatrice. As you can see, the pose and jewelry are strikingly similar to those in the painting. If Leonardo painted Beatrice, then we are looking at the face of a woman who knew her husband was unfaithful. A woman who watched his mistress walk through her own home and who could do nothing to stop it. At first glance, it appears as if she looks at us, the viewer. When we look a bit closer, however, we see that she stares at something just outside of the picture frame. It is believed that the lady depicted with an ermine, Cecilia Gallerani, looks at her lover, Ludovico Sforza. Unlike Cecilia, who turns toward the Duke with loving eyes, this woman looks resentful. Is this the stare of a woman who had just been cheated on? To me, it certainly looks that way. And here's another unusual element for a painting completed in the late 15th century that almost nobody is talking about. Once you notice it, the entire mood changes. Leonardo placed a divider in front of her, a low wall that separates us from her body. We cannot get close because she won't let us in. The divider serves as a visual barrier because she doesn't want to talk. Did the way in which Leonardo painted her reveal her true identity? Was this a portrait of Beatrice d'Este, or is her earlier identification as Lucrezia Crivelli, Beatrice's arch-rival, true? The fact that we are discussing whether or not this is the mistress or the woman who had been cheated on adds a peculiar layer of sarcasm to this portrait. And then there's a dramatic turn of events. As you might have suspected, the story does not end well. In January 1497, Beatrice d'Este died during childbirth. She was only 21 years old. The baby, a son, did not survive either. Contemporary accounts suggest her final months were filled with anguish, and there's a tragic reason for it. As if the fact that her husband was cheating with her personal servant wasn't enough, she learned that Lucrezia was also pregnant with Ludovico's child. Both women were carrying his sons at the same time. Some historians believe that this discovery, which resulted in chronic stress, contributed to the complications that killed her. If this was really a portrait of Beatrice d'Este, then her stare, painted to perfection by Leonardo da Vinci, was a tragic omen of what was to come. Her death marked the beginning of the end for the Duke of Milan. He was a flamboyant character, so Ludovico's public grief was extremely theatrical. At one point in her lavish funeral, he remarried her as if she would rise from the dead at any given moment. He dressed in black for months and neglected his political affairs. Eventually, he made a series of bad decisions that resulted in the end of his reign. All he could do was to visit Beatrice's grave before fleeing Milan when the French invaded, and speak of her as the love of his life. And yet, only 2 months after Beatrice's death, his mistress Lucrezia gave birth to Ludovico's son, and just 3 years later, to yet another son. Was his theatrical grief that lasted several years genuine? I doubt it. While this story might reveal the sitter's identity, are there any clues in the painting itself or its title? What fascinates me most about this painting is how little it reveals. Unlike Lady with an Ermine, there are no symbols to decode. Just a woman, an elaborately decorated dress, a jeweled band across her forehead. Nothing else. The title itself is a mistake. La Belle Ferronnière means the beautiful wife of an ironmonger. It was applied in the 17th century because someone confused this painting with another woman entirely, a mistress of a French king who lived a century later. So even the name tells us nothing. It is a label attached to a face that has already been lost to history. But here's an interesting thought to ponder. Leonardo knew these women. He moved through the same castle, he attended the same events. He understood the tensions and the rivalries better than anybody. And yet he gave us a portrait that doesn't give us many answers, except for this woman's stare. To conclude, I want to share 2 more things that might solve this mystery once and for all. During the late 20th century, a portrait of Lucrezia Crivelli that was held by her family was made public during an exhibition. It depicts a young woman in profile, but as you can see, there aren't many similarities between this woman and the mysterious lady depicted in La Belle Ferronnière. Better yet, some scholars attribute this painting to Leonardo himself, as the pigments are linked to those he used for the Last Supper painting. Secondly, an exhibition in the National Gallery in London in 2011 and 2012 listed the painting as possibly depicting Beatrice d'Este. It seems that the woman's stare is enough to convince others as well that she really was the wife, not the mistress. I would love to know what you think about this painting. Is she really Beatrice or somebody else? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.